Amarachi pleaded with Ogbide, the water spirit. I seek a way out, her voice breaking with emotion. I cannot bear this life any longer. Grant me the strength to break free from the shackles that bind me, to reclaim my dignity and my freedom. Ogbide responded, Daughter of the earth, your courage has moved me. I cannot undo the past, nor can I erase your pain. But I can offer you a gift, a seed of power that lies dormant within your soul. Nurture it, and it will blossom into a force beyond reckoning, a beacon of hope in the darkest of nights. I have heard your cries, and my heart weeps for your suffering. Take this potion, brewed from the essence of the forest and the tears of the moon. With it, you hold the key to liberation. When the time is right, the water spirit continued, offer this potion to Chakudi, your tormentor. Speak the words of invocation, and watch as he is transformed into a creature of the earth, bound by the shell of a turtle. Once upon a time, in the heart of a lush Nigerian village, where the scent of earth mixes with the songs of birds at dawn, lived a young woman named Amarachi. She was like a delicate flower, with eyes that held both the sparkle of hope and the shadow of fear. Amarachi's life was bound by tradition, entangled in the webs of societal norms that dictated her path from birth. She was wedded to Chakudi, a man chosen for her by her family, a man whose face bore the rough edges of a life hardened by hardship. At first, their union seemed like a beautiful fairy tale full of promises of love and security. But soon, the threads began to fray, revealing the ugly truth beneath. Chakudi's love turned into chains, binding Amarachi to a life of torment. It started with harsh words, whispered in the darkness of their heart. Words that cut deeper than any blade, leaving wounds that no amount of time could heal. But soon, the whispers turned into screams, and the screams into blows. Amarachi bore the bruises like silent badges of shame, hiding them beneath the folds of her colorful wrappers. Her spirit wilted under the weight of Chakudi's fists, but still, she stayed. For in her village, living a marriage was like tearing apart the very fabric of society. It was a sin whispered about in hushed tones, the stain that could never be washed away. And so, Amarachi remained trapped, a bird with clipped wings unable to soar. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Amarachi's world grew smaller, suffocating her with its suffocating embrace. She yearned for freedom, for a life where the sun kissed her skin without fear, but it remained a distant dream, an oasis shimmering on the horizon. And so, she lived in the shadows, the ghost of the woman she once was, her spirit flickering like a dying flame in the wind. But deep within her heart, a spark of defiance smoldered, waiting for the day when it would ignite into a blaze, burning away the chains that bound her to a life of misery. Our wonderful people, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to be the first to experience the thrill of our next story. In the dead of night, when the moon hung low in the sky like a silver lantern, Amarachi stole away from her heart, her footsteps muffled by the soft earth beneath her feet. Her heart beat like a drum in her chest as she made her way through the village, guided by the light of the stars. She sought solace in the ancient whispers of the forest, where the spirits of the land danced among the trees. And there, hidden in the heart of the jungle, lay the sacred pool of Ogbide, the water spirit said to possess powers beyond mortal comprehension. As she approached the shimmering waters, Amarachi's breath caught in her throat, her eyes wide with awe and fear. She knelt by the edge of the pool, her hands trembling as she dipped her fingers into the cool liquid. Ogbide, she whispered, her voice barely more than a faint breeze rustling through the leaves. I come to you in my darkest hour, but daughter of the earth seeking your guidance. The surface of the pool rippled with unseen currents, as if in response to her plea. And then, from the depths of the water, a voice echoed in her mind, ancient and wise. Why do you come to me, child of the village? It asked, its words flowing like the gentle cascade of a waterfall. What burden weighs heavy on your soul? Tears welled in Amarachi's eyes as she poured out her heart to the water spirit, her words raw with pain and desperation. She spoke of her marriage to Chakudi, of the bruises that marred her skin and the chains that bound her spirit. I seek a way out, Ogbide, she pleaded, her voice breaking with emotion. I cannot bear this life any longer. Grant me the strength to break free from the shackles that bind me, to reclaim my dignity and my freedom." The pool fell silent, its surface still as a mirror reflecting the moon's glow. And then, with a whisper like the sigh of the wind, the water spirit spoke once more. "Daughter of the earth, your courage has moved me," it said, its voice filled with compassion. "I cannot undo the past, nor can I erase your pain. But I can offer you a gift, a seed of power that lies dormant within your soul. Nurture it, and it will blossom into a force beyond reckoning, a beacon of hope in the darkest of nights." Amarachi bowed her head in gratitude, her heart swelling with a newfound sense of purpose. With the blessing of Ogbide, she knew that she would find the strength to face whatever trials lay ahead, to carve out a future where she could finally spread her wings and soar. As the first light of dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, Ogbide, the water spirit, bestowed upon Amarachi a gift unlike any other. With a solemn grace, it revealed to her the secret of transformation, a power that would allow her to shape her own destiny. "Daughter of the earth," Ogbide spoke, its voice a soothing melody that danced on the morning breeze, "I have heard your cries, and my heart weeps for your suffering. Take this potion, brewed from the essence of the forest and the tears of the moon. With it, you hold the key to liberation." Amarachi accepted the vial with trembling hands, the weight of its significance settling upon her like a heavy cloak. She listened intently as Ogbide imparted the ancient wisdom passed down through generations. "When the time is right," the water spirit continued, "offer this potion to Chakudi, your tormentor. Speak the words of invocation, and watch as he is transformed into a creature of the earth, bound by the shell of a turtle." Amarachi nodded solemnly. As the sun rose higher in the sky, bathing the world in its golden embrace, Amarachi made her way back to the village, her heart buoyed by the promise of a new beginning. She tucked the vial safely into the folds of her wrapper, its contents pulsing with the energy of transformation. With each step she took, she felt the weight of oppression lift from her shoulders, replaced by a sense of purpose and determination. No longer would she cower in the shadows, a victim of fate's cruel hand. She would rise like the phoenix from the ashes, reborn into a warrior of her own destiny. With a steady hand, she withdrew the vial from her wrapper, its contents swirling like liquid fire. And as she spoke the words of invocation, a spark of defiance ignited within her soul, blazing like a beacon in the night. For Amarachi knew that she was no longer a victim, but a survivor, armed with the gift of transformation and the strength to reclaim her freedom. And as the potion took effect, she watched with a sense of satisfaction as Chekudi's form shifted and changed, his cries of anguish drowned out by the triumphant beating of her own heart. With her heart pounding like a drum in her chest, Amarachi stood before Chekudi, the vial of transformation potion clutched tightly in her hand. Anger and desperation mingled within her, fueling her resolve to break free from the chains of abuse that had bound her for far too long. As Chekudi's eyes bore into hers with a mix of contempt and arrogance, Amarachi's grip on the vial tightened. She could feel the weight of centuries of oppression pressing down upon her, urging her to seize her moment of liberation. With a defiant glare, she uncorked the vial and raised it to her lips, the liquid within shimmering like liquid silver in the dim light of their heart. And as she spoke the words of invocation, a surge of power coursed through her veins, banishing all doubt and fear from her mind. By the strength of the earth and the wisdom of the ancients, she intoned, her voice steady despite the tremor in her limbs, I invoke the power of transformation. May the spirits of the forest bear witness to my act of defiance. With a swift motion, she flung the contents of the vial at Chekudi's feet, the potion splashing against the hard-packed earth like raindrops on a parched land. And as the liquid seeped into the ground, a change began to take hold, transforming the very essence of her oppressor. At first, Chikudi's expression twisted with confusion and disbelief, his features contorting in a grotesque parody of humanity. But then, as if guided by unseen hands, his body began to shift and change, his skin hardening into scales, his limbs shrinking and contorting into unfamiliar shapes. Amarachi watched with a mix of horror and satisfaction as her tormentor was reduced to nothing more than a shell of his former self, his cries of anguish echoing through the heart like the wails of a wounded animal. With a steady hand, she reached out and grasped the shell of the turtle that had once been Chekudi, her fingers tracing the intricate patterns etched into its surface. And as she held it aloft, a sense of triumph welled up within her, filling her with a newfound sense of purpose and strength. For she was no longer bound by the chains of tradition and oppression, but free to forge her own path, to shape her own destiny. And as she stepped out into the light of the dawn, the world spread out before her like a vast expanse of possibility, beckoning her forward into a future filled with promise and hope. If you haven't subscribed, share this insightful video. Let's reach 1,000 subscribers together and keep our Africa folktale adventure going. Amarachi stood outside her hut, holding the shell of Chekudi turtle in her hands. A plan began to take shape in her mind, a plan that would not only rid her of her tormentor but also send a powerful message to those who dared to oppress her. She decided to go to the village market, her heart heavy with the weight of her decision. She purchased the ingredients she needed for her plan, careful to conceal her true intentions from prying eyes. Returning to her hut, she set about preparing the pepper soup, her hands moving with practiced ease as she chopped vegetables and boiled water over the fire. But beneath the surface, conflicting emotions churned within her, a mix of satisfaction and guilt warring for dominance in her heart. As the aroma of spices filled the air, mingling with the scent of simmering broth, Amarachi's resolve wavered. She thought of Chekudi, once her husband, now reduced to nothing more than a mere ingredient in her dish. But then, she remembered the years of pain and suffering he had inflicted upon her, and her determination hardened once more. The aroma of Amarachi's pepper soup wafted through the air, enticing villagers from their huts with promises of warmth and comfort. Unaware of the true ingredients that simmered within the pot, they gathered eagerly around Amarachi's humble abode, their mouths watering in anticipation of the feast to come. They spoke in hushed tones of the rumors that had spread throughout the village, whispers of a transformation that had taken place in the dead of night. But as they took their first spoonfuls of the steaming soup, their suspicions melted away like snow beneath the sun, replaced by exclamations of delight and satisfaction. The flavors danced upon their tongues, a symphony of spices and herbs that warmed them to their very core. For a fleeting moment, all was well in the world, and even Amarachi found herself caught up in the joyous atmosphere, her troubles momentarily forgotten amidst the laughter and camaraderie of her fellow villagers. But as the night wore on and the fire burned low, a sense of unease began to settle upon her like a heavy cloak. She watched with growing trepidation as the villagers devoured the soup with ravenous appetites, oblivious to the truth that lay hidden beneath its delectable facade. With each passing moment, the weight of her actions began to press down upon her like a burden too heavy to bear. She thought of Chekudi, reduced to nothing more than a memory, his fate sealed by her hand. And though she knew that he had brought upon himself the consequences of his cruelty, she could not shake the feeling of guilt that gnawed at her conscience. As the last of the soup was consumed and the villagers dispersed to their homes, their bellies full and their spirits light, Amarachi was left alone with her thoughts. She knew that she could not undo what had been done, nor could she erase the choices that had led her to this moment. But she also knew that she had taken a step towards reclaiming her autonomy, towards breaking free from the chains of oppression that had bound her for so long. And though the road ahead would be fraught with uncertainty and doubt, she faced it with a newfound sense of courage and determination, ready to confront whatever challenges lay in her path. For she was no longer the timid girl who had cowered in the shadows, but a woman empowered by her own strength and resilience, ready to carve out a future for herself that was free from fear and oppression. And as she settled into her bed beneath the starlit sky, she allowed herself to dream of the possibilities that lay ahead, knowing that she was the master of her own destiny. If you're hungry for more intriguing stories, check out our next video. Click here.